Let me look at my notes real quick. So if you're the type of person that says, I don't count, I just feel it, this might not be the episode for you. I'm glad, though, that you are so talented and you can just intuit the secrets of rhythm and drumming and phrasing. But for the rest of us, I feel like counting gets a bad rap because, well, first of all, why count in the first place, right? So what do you do when you count? 1, 2, 3, 4. You're marking time with your voice. That's one way to put it. You're counting quarter notes or counting beats. That's another way to put it. The way that I like to think about counting is it's a manifestation of your own sense of time in real life. Now, you could say, but Jonathan, that just sounds like playing, because isn't you playing a basic groove or even clapping your hands, you manifesting your sense of time? Sure. But at least for me, it's a little bit different. Because what ends up happening is we can generate something outside of the limbs that we use to play with in order to check how we hear or how we're placing notes. That's not the metronome. Now, that in some cases just means that you're checking what you're doing based on a flawed and human sense of rhythm. That's fine, right? Because that's what metronome practice is for. So when you count with the metronome and you practice, you're not only training your inner sense of timing, but you're learning how to use that sense of timing that you're learning to refine and checking it against, for the most part, yourself. So basically what you're doing is you're trying to figure out where you're actually feeling the beat, and if that is being thrown off by what you're trying to play, and vice versa. Sometimes what counting will do is push what you are trying to do, or the phrase that you're trying to play, forward or backward to marry the two. So your count or your note can come early or late based on where they are. I'm not sure if any of this stuff is getting through. Personally, there's been no better way to understand, for me, again, because I'm really only talking from my experience, there's been no better way to understand how two rhythms interact with each other than by counting. So what I would try to do is count, and I've done this before, count quintuplets, quarter notes divided by 5, or rather by placing my clapping within my counting, you'll understand exactly what I mean. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm not sure if you would call that implied, but I'm definitely not giving you all the information. I'm only giving you two things, where that 3-note phrase is and where I hear the quarter note. So in essence, it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1. My mouth doesn't move that fast. So at faster tempos, I like to just count the quarter note. Sometimes I'll count the half note. But what that's allowed me to do is really hear how this note cycle works in this rhythm against a quarter note. Because quintuplets are cool, septuplets are cool, 11lets are cool, whatever. But it's really just about the quarter note. It's just about that pulse. And learning how to subdivide can help you vary your phrasing and add some dimension to your playing. But I think about it as angles and shadings of the pulse or the quarter note. And as many ways that you can look at the quarter note, the more intimate your knowledge of the beat or the quarter note. And the pulse, no matter what style of music you're playing, generally, is the most important thing. When I started counting, when I started taking counting seriously, I went back to the cheat sheet, and I tried to count quarter notes while playing the parts of the cheat sheet or clapping quarters. I can't talk. I am bored to tears too. Why do I seem so bored? Let me look back at my notes. To me, the goal is internalization, period. So with counting, I find that I can internalize these rhythms that not only have I heard before, but I can learn to internalize rhythms and relationships that I've never heard before. And so this being able to just play what you hear or feeling stuff, to be honest, is really, really great, and it makes you a very intuitive and reactive musician that can probably improvise their way through most situations. But if you're trying to explore new territory and you're really trying to look at the instrument and the language from an analytical side to open your mind up to new possibilities and develop language from there, I don't see that you can get around counting unless you use an app like Polynome, or any type of DAW, really, Ableton, Logic, whatever. You can program the notes that you want and then just learn to play it that way. And that's fine. You know, I know a lot of rock and gent is made by manipulating production techniques and then just learning that's cool. But personally, I've always been a fan of knowing what I'm playing, not just from a feeling perspective or a memory perspective, but like being able to not just analyze, but to distill that information to you guys. That's the teacher in me. I'm not speaking for everyone. I'm just speaking for myself. And I'm not saying that my way is better. You know, if you can feel it, do you. But I learned this way because I don't feel like I personally have an innate sense of understanding rhythms just like that, or at least I didn't until I really started to study and try to figure out how these things behaved. So I want to talk to you guys about how I have been using apps to help with my counting. So let me restart it so you can actually see what this is. Oh, that was still too fast. This is Drum Guru. I'm sure it might be flipped. Whatever. So this is Drum Guru, and it's great because you can set it to virtually anything that you want and then play to these weird mixed meter passages. But lately, I have been learning how to play and count in 11. My way of playing 11 with Time Guru is 2 quarter notes and then a group of 3/16 notes. That gives you 11/16. So this is what it sounds like when I do it.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1.
Gonna set that off to the side for a second.
2, 1, 2, 3, 1.
And so what I will try to do is that same 3 pattern that I was counting 5 to, I'll clap and try to count with this guy or lady or however she identifies.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1.
2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1.
2, 1, 2, 3, 1.
And so you can see how, depending on how good a clapper you are, you can sort of start to understand the nooks and crannies of that 3 and also count with her. The point is not to let that do the counting for you, but to take over counting, so you can go 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1. So the idea is hopefully you can learn how to count with whatever you want. I mean, those could be paradiddle diddles. You could play literally whatever you want and just count. Like I was explaining before, you may rush the count or you may rush the notes that you're playing. Well, you want all of that stuff to be perfectly stable. That's a little bit of how I practice with counting. You can count with anything. Just start playing and turn it on, and if it starts to throw you or you become out of sync somewhere, observe it and figure out what's going wrong and how to stabilize that. Once you have it stable, then listen to it and then try to count with it. Once it starts to become predictable, you'll start to internalize that count and that relationship, and you'll begin to understand that rhythm from a new perspective.